Hi, I'm Mike Morales. You are watching Sipping Off the Cuff on TequilaAficionado.com, Tequila Aficionado Media. I'm here in San Antonio, and that weirdo over there is...
Back here, Rick Levy in San Diego.
Rick, why don't you tell the folks, we're going to do something really unusual that we've never done on Tequila Aficionado before on Sipping Off the Cuff. We are going to do this brand. In fact, let's just show it to start off with. This brand is called Armero. And we are going to do, there are so many iterations of this brand. In fact, Rick and I were really confused. We've had this tequila for a while. It comes from one of our favorite distilleries. But
La Cofradia.
Yes, La Cofradia. It was 1137, right? No, 1137.
Yeah.
And but we were confused as to how to broach this subject of so many different classifications of this tequila. The gentleman's, the brand owner's name is Senor Solis, and he was very nice to get these to us. I mean, I'll have to say he was very prompt and very quick to get it to us. You may have seen them on Instagram. If you haven't, go check them out. But I'm going to let Rick lead us down this path because we actually have a flow chart, okay? And we're gonna present this flow chart for you. You'll see it when each of these tastings, these flights that we're going to do, are published. So you'll see how we broke this up, and we'll try to. We need GPS, okay? So that's what we're going to do.
We had to make a Madden diagram.
we have to make a diagram of this whole thing. So you lead. You tell us which one we're going to do first on this, and we're going to go Blanco, Reposado, and Añejo, right? On
the more or less.
More or less. Okay. All right.
So now the brand. Well, let's talk about the branding first. Okay. The branding has this. It's a military look to it, and is this supposed to be like a military canteen shape?
I've been told by Lisa that this is a canteen. Is that an Armero? Is that where they keep the bullets? She told me what the heck this was.
No, that's a grenade pouch.
It's a grenade pouch.
A grenade pouch.
That's what this is. Okay. So
right.
If you're Arnold,
don't grab it by the pin or it will explode.
Yes. We understand. By the way, we understand from the brand owner that they are going to redo the logo because it looks too much like the Air Force. And I guess
they're redoing the design of the logo.
Yes, and also the caps. Correct. We don't have any current.
Well, I heard. Of that. I believe he said they were redoing the caps and the these other bits. They were redoing it in metal instead of plastic to give it a cleaner, more substantial look and feel. Which I think that'll be great. But this is just a cork. And it's a substantial stopper, and it looks like something you want to grab to go and pick it up, especially since, this part is so large.
Right.
But if you grab this to pick it up, you're just going to end up pulling out the cork. It's not threaded.
Yeah, it's actually a plastic cap. It looks heavier than it really is. It's molded plastic, and it's a synthetic cork. So you don't have to, you don't have to fight with it to open it. It opens very easily. That's so far. And now, Rick, we were debating off camera whether we wanted to nominate this brand for packaging. Why don't you tell me what your argument is against nominating so many iterations of this brand? It is unusual.
Well,
I mean, take a look. This would be, if you're a macho dude, and you like guns and gladiator movies. I don't know.
And that's what I thought. That's what I thought the idea was when we first got it. Yeah. I saw the grenade pouches. I saw several of them have camouflage paint on them.
Yes.
And I thought, they're going for a military theme. That's cool. And then I saw the social media marketing and, the photography that they've done. and it's all like young jet setters.
Yeah,
And
it's a
it's like
confusing message.
people. It's like people in fancy suits hanging out by pools in Las Vegas, or getting off jets, or that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, how odd. and in the positioning of it, they're going for a super premium luxury high end is where they're trying to place this. And so I find, to me, the military theme and the camouflage juxtaposed to the high fashion jet setters and luxury. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
And then the line is very large. We received 7 bottles, but now there's actually 9 in the line.
Yeah, we didn't get the other 2 for some reason.
Well, the bottles came in last fall while we were judging the 2016 Brands of Promise Awards.
Right.
And so all the new reviews were, being shelved because we had to do our judging. And so, now, the beginning of the year, the spring, we're getting back into everything. And then, all this, this first quarter, we've been trying to figure out how do we make sense of this for our...
How do we do it? And Rick was nice enough, I guess he had his brainstorm, that we actually asked Mr. Solis some more in-depth questions about how many distillations and what was, which lines were which. And from that information, Rick came up with a flow chart.
Yeah.
And so, like I say, you'll see that flow chart because it's really like a map, of where we're
we've
at.
essentially been able to turn this into 3 lines for you. And so I think, we can really help you understand this lineup. Everything is based off of this Blanco. And so this is the gray camouflage. This is called the Classic Blanco. That's another thing with this line. On the neck labels on all of these, there are luxury, high-end type terms that are being used, which don't necessarily have any official association with tequila in terms of making sense of the line. But this one's called the Classic. And then from this Blanco, they made this Blanco, which they call the Extreme. This Blanco is the gray, the basic, the Classic, is a 2 times distilled Blanco.
Okay.
Which is interesting because at La Confraria we're used to things being distilled 3 times.
Right. Now this is the second line that we've actually tried that has been double distilled. You may or may not have seen it by now, but we do have Dos Almas coming out of the same distillery, and that is a double distillation, but it's a high proof, so it's a bit different.
Yeah.
So
Emilio De Soto, the brand owner, serves as his own master distiller on that, I believe.
Yeah.
And so that's why I was wondering if Senior Solis had been bringing in his own distiller to run the show at La Confraria when they go into distill.
Yeah, we asked at the last minute, and we haven't heard anything back. So we're just going to assume that somebody is overseeing this, and decided that double distillation was where it was at, and the Extreme, this one here.
This one is it's a 4 times distilled.
Okay, it's a 4 times distilled. I'm
so
sorry. That's
from what I understand, they took the 2 times Blanco, and then they ran it through 2 more times and came up with this.
Okay.
Then, for another Blanco variation, they took the Classic, and then they put it in some depleted bourbon barrels for 40 days, and they made what they're calling the Silver, which, right, do I have this right? Yes, that's the Silver.
Right.
And so, they're essentially making more of a Suave with that.
They're pulling it from the barrel right before they have to call it a Reposado. So so it's a Blanco Suave kind of.
And so, they're taking the Classic Blanco, and then they're making 2 variations on that to kind of soften it up, smooth it out, round it out. And so they're, try two different ways, extra distillations or resting it.
Okay.
Then, so from there we get into the heart of the line. Okay, so again, we start with the classic Blanco, and then from there, they put it into a combination of used bourbon barrels with light and medium toast on the inside of the barrels. So that's where they toast the inside of the barrel before they put the tequila in. And so then for this Reposado, they're putting it in a combination of light and medium toasted barrels for 6 months.
Okay,
and that's how
it's a 6-month Reposado. And this is the root. This tends to be the root of all, pretty much every line. Kind of, sort of, maybe.
The root of all Armero.
The root of all of our evils. Okay.
All right, and so then from that Reposado, they leave it in those same barrels until it hits 18 months.
Oh my God.
And then we get
this
añejo, which they're calling the perfection.
And this is left for how many months?
This is 18 months.
18 months. Wow.
In the same barrels as the Reposado. And they also have a Grand Class añejo that they're putting out, but it's really just the same juice as this. They're putting it in a packaging that is more like this, going for the high-end placement, high-end clubs and restaurants, that kind of thing.
Like bottle service.
Yeah. All right, so and those are all the ones with the camouflage painted tops. That's sort of the heart of the line. Then they did an experiment with a couple other Reposados. So again, they start with the classic.
Right.
And then they're doing the Reposado Supreme, but this is also...
The Reposado Supreme?
It sounds like
a Taco Bell menu item.
I know. So it also says Ultra on the bottom.
By the way, many of these came in boxes, and they're rather flimsy, so be careful if you happen to see one of these in a box. And I'm hoping that Rick and I all have the same one. Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a Reposado Ultra.
Yeah. And so what they're doing there is they're resting this in again a combination of barrels. They're all used American oak bourbon barrels, but for this they use a combination of light, medium, and full toast or char on the barrels.
So this is like a blend, you would say, right?
Yeah, it's a blend from different barrels, but it is all, for this Reposado, the Supreme or Ultra, it's 9 months in those barrels.
Okay.
Then, 2 months later, from the same barrels, they pull out this Reposado, which they're calling the Luxury. And this is rested in that same combination of barrels for 11 months.
Okay. Did you guys get all that? Well, this is why we're doing the intro, because there's so many iterations of this line and so many. It's like they're trying to tweak the recipes to try to fit different categories or different palates or different markets. I don't know. Like I say, something like this can be overdone and a bit confusing. So we're trying to keep it as simple as possible, and that's why Rick. That's what we're going through this line.
I think that, and I think it probably is overdone and confusing. They're trying a lot of different things here, and this is the kind of thing that I would have expected that they work out with their master distiller before they start bottling, where they try all these different production methods, and then they choose which ones to feature, rather than just saying, let's feature all of them. So what we have here is, they're trying different combinations of charred barrels, and they're trying different ages, different lengths of time for resting the tequila. And personally, I think, they should just make some choices and go with a line that is easier to follow.
Maybe that's what's in maybe that's what they're hoping to do. Maybe that's something in the future. They're going to see which lines sell, which ones don't move, and then go from there. I don't know what Mr. Solis's plans are, but we're certainly going to try to. I guess the bottom line is, let's see how good the juice is. Let's see if these differences actually make a difference. Because again, these are coming out of La Cofradia, and my question that I had, that Rick and I both had actually, was there are so many great tequilas that come out of La Cofradia, and many of them have that Cofradia stamp. We've talked about it here before. And most recently with Dos Almas, there's a certain stamp that you can, if you've had enough of these tequilas, you can pull out. But how many different iterations of the same tequila can you make coming out of La Cofradia? There's a really, how many balanced flavor profiles can you come up with?
And there isn't, the information to help, like say you're walking into your favorite tequila shop and you're looking to buy a bottle of Armero. Say you're looking for, you're in the mood for a Reposado. And it's like, I want to try that new Armero brand. Looks great. And you go up to the shelf. There are 3 Reposados on the shelf. And you look at them and there's nothing on the packaging to describe to you what is different about the juice in those 3 bottles.
And guaranteed, Rick, guaranteed that the guy behind the counter will know even less than you. All right?
Yeah.
So that's why we did what we did. This is our introduction to Armero, and that's our basis for now. If you stay with us, we'll give you some more information on it, because we're going to do a flight of the first iteration of the line. So stick with us. I'm Mike Morales here in San Antonio. That gentleman over there with our GPS is
Rick Levy in San Diego.
You've been watching Sipping Off the Cuff on TequilaAficionado.com and Tequila Aficionado Media. If you are watching us on YouTube, please subscribe. Hit that red button, because otherwise you'll miss the rest of this great.
Yeah, definitely look for the videos on the 3 flights of Armero we're going to tonight.
And like we say here on Tequila Aficionado, tomar sabiamente.
Supply